Carlos Mark Vera, an immigrant from Colombia, was raised in California before moving to Washington, D.C. to attend American University. While at AU, Carlos was an unpaid intern at the White House and the U.S. House of Representatives and more. He knows firsthand the struggles of trying to survive while interning without compensation. Under his leadership, Pay Our Interns successfully convinced Congress to pass more than $150 million in funding for interns in congressional offices, the State Department, and the White House. How many interns we have here from the White House, the Hill, or the State Department? The next time you go to the bank, thank this guy right here. He has also helped nonprofits, corporations, as well as presidential campaigns with their internship programs. In no small measure, his efforts on Capitol Hill resulted in Carlos being named as a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree, Echoing Green Fellow, Camelback Ventures Fellow, a top 20 change maker of NBC Latino, and an Aspen Ideas Fellow. A former college dropout, Carlos went back to school and graduated in May of 2020 with a bachelor's in political science from American University. He also served in the United States Army. And as a veteran of the Army myself, I am proud to honor him. Carlos, for all those reasons and more, on behalf of the Latino Leaders Network, we present you with the Rising Star Award for your outstanding leadership and extraordinary commitment to our community. Thank you for always dreaming big. Congratulations.
Thank you all so much for being here. I want to start off by thanking Honorable Miki Barra and the Latino Leaders Network for this honor. It's actually really special being here because the last LLN event I went to was in college where Secretary Julian Castro was being honored. So it's kind of full circle moment, you know, going from a college student to being an honoree. You know, even though I'm standing here alone, I did not get to this point on my own. You know, in many ways, Pay Our Interns was never supposed to succeed. You know, we had all the odds stacked against us. I quit my job to start this organization with $1,000, which I don't recommend. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, didn't come from generational wealth, started this organization in a time where Congress, you know, one chamber was run by Republicans, the other was by Democrats, budgets were being cut left and right. And this whole mentality of like, pay your dues, and because I suffered in the past, so should you, were very much instilled in our cultures. And before I continue, I want to make note that people can pay their dues while getting a paycheck. It's not one or the other. Our tagline is, experience doesn't pay the bills, because it doesn't, right? You know, your landlord's not going to accept that as a form of payment. I tried. So, even though we did not have money, what we had were people. People like Ingrid and Catherine from DMP Creative Strategies, who took us on as pro bono clients. People like John Michael Gonzalez from Tiber Creek Group, which were instrumental for the lobbying that helped create the $14 million initial fund for the Senate. People like Tony Tijerino, who's in the back of the room on a phone. I'm kidding. Who was the first supporter. I told him about my idea, and he not only encouraged me, but incubated us within the Hispanic Heritage Foundation and gave us office space. So I do want to just give you a shout out, Tony, for all the love and support. I'm standing here because I dared to reimagine a future where someone's background, what their parents make, does not dictate what kind of career they can have. Because that's what's been, the last 100+ years. And I'm glad that we're, slowly but surely changing that. I just gave a speech recently, and one of the attendees, it's Upward Bound program. For those that know, I also did Upward Bound in high school. He came up to me and he's like, you know what, I'm from Brownsville, Texas, and I just did the White House internship and I got paid. If it weren't, for being paid, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And those are the kind of the moments that remind me why I do this work. And I want to make this clear because I'm sure even some people think like, oh, getting internships paid, it's cute, it's nice, but it's so much more than that. This is a racial justice issue, this is an economic issue, this is a gender issue. 70% of interns are women, and we know that Latina women have the largest gender pay gap out of all groups. So think about that. If you're starting your salary from $0 an hour, how much does that impact a Latina 20, 30 years through their career, right? So this issue transcends a lot of sectors, and that's why I do this work. As when Mickey mentioned my bio, I made sure to put dropout too, because I think often, you see bios and it's like, I'm perfect, I got a gold star, and I don't think that's very healthy. We need to stop, putting people in pedestals, and there's power in vulnerability, right? Getting to this point has not been easy. There were times where I couldn't pay my rent. And thankfully, I had people like my friend Nihal, who's here, that let me borrow money. It has not been easy, but I kept on pushing, and I think that's part of being a visionary leader. It's continuing even knowing when logically you need to stop, right? Like, there are many times I could have been like, you know what, let's pack it up. We should go home, but we didn't, and I'm so glad that myself and the co-founder Guillermo, who couldn't be here, we're finally seeing the fruits of our labor. To wrap this up, and particularly I'm addressing this to the interns and people that are just starting out the career. You read the news and it's hard not to feel disillusioned, like there's really not much hope, right? Like, what's the point of me investing in my career, so on and so forth, if there just doesn't seem to be a future? And I can tell you that, in these moments of crises are the times where there's opportunities to actually create systemic change. We saw that at the Supreme Court. They might have struck down race-based affirmative action, but now we have colleges pushing to end legacy, affirmative action. So for every problem or crisis, there is an opportunity. So I hope that the success and the change that Parenters has been able to do can inspire y'all to keep on fighting, keep on pushing. Thank you.